Hello, Lowdown fans. Welcome back to another episode of the Lowdown. My name is Trey and today I will be your guide. In today's episode, producer Tyler Happney and I visited the local record store in Highland Square named Square Records. We got an interview with the owner, David Ignizio, as well as some awesome footage of the store. Without further ado, let's get straight to it.
My name is David Ignizio. I'm a co-owner of Square Records here in Highland Square. We opened in 2003 in this location, so we've been here almost 22 years now. Store's just been kind of slowly growing ever since we opened up. It wasn't nearly this full when we first opened. We just had a couple bins, records and CDs, and just kind of keep expanding as the years go by. We keep buying more records, people keep buying more from us, and that keeps the cycle going. Yeah, Highland Square is a great community. It's always, people always consider Highland Square like the arts and culture sort of neighborhood of Akron, so we thought it'd be a great place to be. There's a lot of musicians here, a lot of music fans, a lot of artists. So we don't do it as much anymore, unfortunately. When we had more space back here, we used to do a lot of art openings and live music in the shop. We still do a couple events every year like that, but so it kind of just feeds off of that. Yeah, for the most part now, we've kind of maxed out the space, so it's harder to do events in the shop. I'd say when we started doing the store, it was more focused on definitely like indie rock, punk rock, things like that. But as I've grown up, my interests have expanded quite a bit, and we always had a smattering of other genres, but now we definitely have like a really good jazz section, R&B, modern R&B, hip hop, more classic rock kind of stuff, things that I wasn't necessarily into when we first opened. But it's a learning experience every day doing this. Records come in all the time that you've never seen, and you just will blow your mind, stuff you never heard before. So it's really cool just kind of learning on the job and then digging into where'd this band come from and finding out their whole history and a genre's history or scene's history from the past. And there's always an audience for things like that you may not have known existed, even a year ago or whatever. I just can't stop buying records, so and I like a lot of different stuff, so I'm always interested in bringing in things, and every day you see new records you've never seen before. A lot of interesting things come through that door every single day, so stuff I think either I like or things I can sell right away, so I'm always buying, so it fills up pretty quick. I think we go a little deeper into certain genres than some shops go. I haven't been into a lot of other local shops in recent days just because I'm always here too, so I'm not sure what other people are doing necessarily, but I like to get a lot of a little deeper into a lot of genres, I guess, than maybe a lot of other people do. There's a lot of reissue labels that do reissues of classic jazz records or R&B records that were kind of unknown at the time but are coming out now and that are really interesting music, kind of archived and brought back that not a lot of people knew about, and those sort of things fascinate me, so I bring those in a lot. And then just we do a lot with independent labels and modern independent rock labels, and definitely stuff you're not going to hear on the radio, things that are a little more far out, electronic music, experimental music, it all kind of interests me, so I try and have a nice, at least a representation of all those kind of genres as well that you might not find at other shops. Some shops are very much just kind of focused on the classic rock era. We don't have an Akron section right now. I do have some Akron music in the shop, but we used to have a lot when we were more primarily focused on CDs. We had a lot more local CDs in here, and there would be a lot of Akron and area artists that would bring in their CDs, and we put them on consignment. We had a pretty big section of just local music, but in the vinyl era, unfortunately, it's a lot harder to get vinyl made than it is CD. It's more expensive for local artists, so there's not as many people that are making vinyl around here necessarily. There's a few, and we'll always carry them if people want to bring them in. One of the things we do usually have is there's a label from the late 70s, early 80s called Clone Records that was a Akron punk rock label that was started by the singer from the Bizarros. And so he put out a lot of records back then, and he still has copies of those now. And I get those from him. Those are kind of a unique thing we have at the shop that not a lot of people have. So a lot of stuff from like Tin Huey and Rubber City Rebels, the Bizarros, the Waitresses, early recordings from the Waitresses and stuff like that. So those are really kind of a good part of Akron's musical history that we're always happy to have on hand. Yeah, I mean it's kind of a sloppy vibe, but to some degree, I mean it's just I don't know. Like I put up a lot of posters of things that I like. We get a lot of posters from the record labels when new albums come out and things like that. So I'll put those up, and then I have kind of my own little poster collection that has come in. Either things I have owned for a long time, or sometimes when I do a big record buy or somewhere, I go out and buy records. There'll be posters involved there too, and I can buy those. So I like to put those up in the store. It's a little shabby, but I kind of like that vibe for a record shop. But there's a lot of modern record shops that are like very kind of manicured and like super clean and nice, like wood and everything, and that's cool too. But I kind of just like having a hodgepodge of like everything. All of our shelving is a little bit from all over the place. Whatever I can get my hands on, and it all makes sense to me, and hopefully it makes sense to other people. But I don't want it to be like a total mess, and I like to keep things organized very well as far as like keeping the genres organized and somewhat alphabetized and stuff like that. I don't want it to be totally chaotic, but it also doesn't have to be so streamlined and neat all the time either. So for me, I like to kind of like spread out a little bit and get into all over the place, soundtracks, and we have a pretty big international music selection here too. So we carry a lot of records like from Japan or Africa or India and stuff like that I find like really fascinating. So that's kind of our general thing. That's I guess where kind of like my interests come into the shop, like you were asking me earlier. But I just kind of am constantly fascinated by hearing new sounds and want to bring in as much of that sort of thing as possible, and possibly get other people interested in it as well.